Picture this. You're in a meeting with your team, discussing a critical project that's fallen behind schedule. The tension is palpable. Your boss, visibly frustrated, turns to you and asks pointedly, "Why aren't we meeting our deadlines?" Your heart races, your palms sweat, and in that moment, you have a choice. Do you deflect blame, stay silent, or find a way to address the real issues at hand? We've all been there, caught in the crossfire of a high-stakes conversation where emotions run high and the outcome could make or break our careers, our relationships, or even our organizations. These are what we call crucial conversations, and how we handle them can determine our success in both our professional and personal lives. Welcome to CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into the game-changing book, Crucial Conversations, Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High by Joseph Grenny, Carrie Patterson, Ron McMillan, and Al Switzler. This book has revolutionized the way millions of people communicate in high-pressure situations, and by the end of this episode, you'll have powerful tools to transform your most challenging dialogues into opportunities for growth and positive change. But first, let's define what we mean by a crucial conversation. It's not just any difficult talk, it's a discussion between two or more people where the stakes are high, opinions vary, and emotions run strong. These conversations are crucial because their outcomes can have a huge impact on the quality of our lives. Think about times when you've had to give tough feedback to a colleague, confront a family member about a sensitive issue, or negotiate a major deal with a client. These are all examples of crucial conversations. The problem is, when we're faced with these high-stakes moments, we often fall into predictable traps. We might go silent, avoiding the issue altogether and hoping it resolves itself. Or we might go on the attack, pushing our views aggressively and damaging relationships in the process. Neither approach leads to the results we want. That's where the skills taught in Crucial Conversations come in. The authors have studied thousands of successful communicators across various fields and distilled their techniques into a set of practical tools anyone can learn. These skills allow us to speak up honestly and respectfully, even in the most challenging situations, and to listen in a way that encourages others to do the same. Now, let's dive into the first key principle from the book, creating safety in crucial conversations. Imagine you're having a difficult discussion with your spouse about finances. Things are getting heated, voices are raising, and you can feel the conversation spiraling out of control. What's happening here? The authors would say that safety is at risk. Safety in the context of crucial conversations doesn't mean physical safety. It refers to the conditions that allow for open, honest dialogue. When people feel safe, they're willing to add their meaning to what the authors call the shared pool of meaning. All the information, ideas, theories, and feelings relevant to the subject at hand. The larger this shared pool, the better the decisions and outcomes that flow from it. So, how do we create and maintain this sense of safety? The book outlines two critical components: mutual purpose and mutual respect. Mutual purpose means that others perceive that you're working toward a common outcome in the conversation, that you care about their goals, interests, and values. Mutual respect is the continual acknowledgement of the value we place on the other person. Let's go back to our example of the financial discussion with your spouse. If your partner feels that you're only interested in controlling the finances for your own benefit, a lack of mutual purpose, or that you don't respect their input, a lack of mutual respect, they're likely to become defensive or withdraw from the conversation. To restore safety when it's at risk, the authors introduce a powerful tool called contrasting. This is a don't-do statement that addresses others' concerns that you don't respect them, or that you have a malicious purpose, the don't part, and confirms your respect or clarifies your real purpose, the do part. For instance, in our financial discussion, you might say something like, "I don't want you to think that I'm trying to control all our spending or that I don't value your input. I do want us to work together to create a budget that helps us achieve our shared goals and gives us both a sense of financial security." This contrasting statement addresses the potential misunderstanding that you're trying to control everything and clarifies your real intent to work together for shared goals. It's a simple but powerful way to rebuild safety and get the conversation back on track. Another crucial skill for maintaining safety is learning to recognize when it's at risk in the first place. The authors encourage us to watch for signs that people are moving toward either silence or violence. Silence can take the form of masking, understating, or selectively showing our true opinions. Avoiding, steering away from sensitive subjects, or withdrawing, pulling out of the conversation altogether. Violence, on the other hand, doesn't necessarily mean physical violence. It refers to any verbal strategy that attempts to force meaning into the pool, and it can manifest as controlling, coercing others to your way of thinking, labeling, putting a label on people or ideas so we can dismiss them, or attacking, moving from winning the argument to making the other person suffer. By staying alert to these signs, we can catch safety problems early and address them before the conversation derails completely. Now, let's move on to the second major principle from crucial conversations: mastering your stories. This is all about understanding how our emotions and the stories we tell ourselves impact our reactions in crucial conversations. Here's a fundamental truth that the authors emphasize. Our emotions don't come directly from others' actions. Instead, they come from the stories we tell ourselves about those actions. Let's break this down with an example. Imagine you're giving a presentation at work and you notice your boss checking her phone. Your immediate emotional reaction might be anger or frustration. But why? It's because you've told yourself a story. Perhaps that your boss doesn't value your work, or that she finds your presentation boring. But is this the only possible interpretation? Of course not. Maybe she's dealing with an urgent issue that can't wait. Maybe she's actually looking up information relevant to your presentation. The point is, we often jump to conclusions based on limited information, and these stories drive our emotional reactions. The problem is, when we're caught up in these stories, we often don't even realize we're telling them. We mistake our stories for reality. And when our stories cast us as innocent victims and others as villains, we feel justified in our emotional reactions and subsequent behaviors, even when those behaviors are counterproductive. So how do we break free from this cycle? The authors provide a powerful tool they call "tell the rest of the story." This involves actively questioning our conclusions and looking for alternative explanations. It's about moving from certainty to curiosity. In our presentation example, telling the rest of the story might involve asking yourself, what else could explain my boss's behavior? Is it possible there's a benign explanation I haven't considered? What might I not know about her situation? This doesn't mean ignoring problematic behavior or never holding others accountable, but by expanding our story, we open up new possibilities for how to address the situation constructively. We move from anger to curiosity, from blame to problem solving. The authors also encourage us to look for our own role in the problem. Often, when we tell ourselves victim stories, we conveniently leave out the parts where we contributed to the issue. By honestly examining our own actions, we regain a sense of control and agency in the situation. Mastering our stories is crucial because it directly impacts how we show up in our crucial conversations. If we enter a conversation believing the other person is out to get us, we're likely to be defensive and combative. But if we can expand our story and approach the conversation with genuine curiosity, we create space for real dialogue and understanding. This brings us to the third key principle from crucial conversations: state your path. This acronym provides a powerful framework for expressing your views in a way that maintains safety and invites dialogue. Let's break down each component of state. S stands for share your facts. Start with the least controversial, most persuasive elements from your path to action. Facts are much less likely to provoke disagreement than controversial conclusions or accusations. T is for tell your story. This is where you explain what you're beginning to conclude based on the facts. Remember to frame this as your interpretation, not absolute truth. A reminds us to ask for others' paths, encourage others to share both their facts and their stories. This demonstrates that you're interested in their perspective and open to dialogue. T stands for talk tentatively. This doesn't mean watering down your message, but rather expressing it in a way that shows you're open to other viewpoints. Use phrases like, "I'm beginning to wonder if," or "in my opinion." E is for encourage testing. Make it safe for others to express differing or even opposing views. Actively invite alternative perspectives. Let's see how this might play out in a real-world scenario. Imagine you're a team leader and one of your team members, Alex, has missed several important deadlines recently. You need to address this issue. Here's how you might apply the state model. You might start by saying, Alex, I've noticed that the last 3 project deliverables were turned in after the agreed-upon deadlines. Share your facts. I'm starting to worry that this might indicate a larger problem with workload or prioritization. Tell your story. I wanted to check in with you to understand what might be going on from your perspective. Ask for others' paths. From my view, it seems like there might be an issue, but I could be missing something. Talk tentatively. I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this and work together to find a solution if there is a problem. Encourage testing. Notice how this approach opens up the conversation in a non-threatening way. You're not accusing or attacking, you're sharing your concerns and inviting dialogue. This creates the conditions for a productive conversation where both parties can work together to address the issue. The state model is particularly powerful because it allows you to be both confident and humble at the same time. You're clearly expressing your views and concerns, but you're doing so in a way that leaves room for other perspectives and collaborative problem solving. As we wrap up our exploration of crucial conversations, let's recap the key takeaways. First, the importance of creating and maintaining safety in our conversations by ensuring mutual purpose and mutual respect, and using tools like contrasting when safety is at risk. We create an environment where open, honest dialogue can flourish. Second, the power of mastering our stories. By recognizing that our emotions stem from the stories we tell ourselves and learning to expand those stories, we can approach crucial conversations with curiosity rather than anger or fear. And third, the State Your Path model, which provides a practical framework for expressing our views in a way that invites dialogue and maintains safety. These tools and principles have the power to transform our crucial conversations from sources of stress and conflict into opportunities for understanding, problem-solving, and strengthening relationships. But, like any skill, they require practice to master. So here's your call to action. In the coming week, identify one crucial conversation you've been avoiding or struggling with. It might be with a colleague, a family member, or a friend. Apply the principles we've discussed today. Create safety, examine and expand your stories, and use the state model to express your views. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Each time you apply these skills, you'll get a little better at navigating these high-stakes moments. And over time, you'll find yourself handling even the most challenging conversations with confidence and skill. Thank you for joining me on CEO's Library, the 1% Bookshelf. If you found this episode valuable, please share it with someone who could benefit from these insights. And don't forget, you can find the full transcript and accompanying visualizations for this episode at ceoslibrary.com. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having those crucial conversations. Your success, in business and in life, may depend on it.